to all. When you hear the word research, what comes in your mind? It may be a research which carried out in laboratory setup, or the medical researchers who are working with animals, or the type of research that is carried out in university or college. So here the focus is on the type of research which is carried out in classroom situation. So here we can see that we are mentioning about action research, and this action research which gives more information as well as it gives the immediate and direct application. So in today's session for classroom research, we have with us Dr. Sukhvinder. Let I introduce our guest. Dr. Sukhvinder is Associate Professor in Geography at Educational Survey Division of NCERT, New Delhi. He works in the area of social science education, assessment and evaluation, conduct large-scale educational surveys and identify talented students. He has experience of 2.5 decades working in research organization, teacher training institute, degree college and school. He is closely associated with IGNOU and NIOS and contributed significantly in material development. Welcome Dr. Sukhvinder to this session, and before starting this action research, we may see what are the main points that we will cover in this video. The things that we cover is classroom research, types, action research and case study. Then what is action research, difference between research and action research, need for action research, how to conduct action research, what are the various steps of action research, facilitating teachers in classroom research. And when we think over a topic, the main thing is the learning outcomes. So what are the learning outcomes that you are getting through this video will be: explain the meaning of action research, describe the need and importance of action research, explain the features of action research, list out the ways or steps of conducting classroom research, facilitate the teachers to undertake action research. And my first question to you is, are you fully satisfied with your role as teacher or practitioner?
Yeah, so as Dr. Elizabeth has rightly pointed out, that this is a question thrown open to all the prospective teachers, that are you fully satisfied with your role as a teacher practitioner? So your answer may be yes, no or maybe, right? And if your answer is probably no to this particular question, probably, then you are in the need of action research. There are some more questions placed before you. What makes you dissatisfied with your professions? So some of you may be giving answers like this, that I'm not able to give the desired output, I'm not satisfied with my current pedagogical processes, I feel I'm not able to help meritorious students in my class, I'm noticing some students are constantly creating indiscipline in my online classes, I think my students are not learning map reading skills properly, I feel few students in my class are not at all attentive, my students are not keen in drawing diagrams which are must for science learning. So these are some of the questions which you may encounter as a teacher, and say this may lead to a feeling of dissatisfaction with your profession, and you are very curious to find out the solutions for such questions, to address these questions, and to address these concerns. So what is the way out? So the way out is action research, and probably say we will be discussing various nuances of action research. What is action research? Why action research is required, and how action research can be conducted in a classroom scenario. That will be focus on today's discussion.
Okay, you have stated about the concerns of teachers and why they are dissatisfied. More than the pedagogical practices, we can see that teachers are generally dissatisfied with the behavioral issues of learners. So there also you can adopt action research. And before going how to conduct action research, it is essential to understand what is action research. How is it different from the normal research?
Yeah. So what you can see on the screen that there's a teacher sitting on a table, and the feeling which you get by looking at this image is that the teacher is probably dissatisfied, maybe some of the concern he is facing in his classroom situation. So as in the beginning I've conveyed you that there's a dissatisfaction with the existing situation, and that's a prerequisite for action research. So for the learners, I would like to bring out one more important point, that you all have observed that in the pandemic situation, the classroom situation is totally changed. We have shifted to online system of education where teacher is sitting at a remote location, students they are sitting at different locations, and they are digitally connected and having learning from remote place. And when this digital learning is taking place, so there are certain issues encountered by the students and also by the teacher. It may happen that teacher is not well equipped with the technology of conducting online classes. So it may happen that students they are also not aware of this digital technology of taking online classes. It may happen that students they may not have proper devices to undertake these online classes, and at the same time when lot of stressful situation is there due to pandemic, schools are not open, students they are not able to meet with their friends, with their peer group, and they are confined indoors. So this may lead to certain behavioral problems and generate maladjustment issues. So when in such a situation, say learning has to take place, teacher tries to try his level best or try her level best to deliver the content, to involve students in meaningful pedagogical practices, but he or she is finding that in spite of trying best of efforts, say she's not able to get the desired results. So students they are finding it very difficult in this COVID situation while taking online classes, and that is how due to these academic issues, due to socio-emotional issues, due to behavioral issues of the students, teachers are in a position to resolve their current practices, resolve their current problems, to resolve their current issues, and the answer to all this question is to conduct classroom research, and in particularly action research. So when it comes to action research for the information of all the learners, say the action research, the term was coined by Stephen Corey in the year 1953, and he defined action research as the process by which practitioners attempt to study their problems scientifically in order to guide and correct their decisions and actions. So in this particular slide, you may visualize on your screen that there are certain words marked in red color. So what we can say that action research is a process. Why process? Because it contains several systematic steps, and those steps may start from identification of the problem to the final report writing and adopting their findings in their teaching learning process. And the second keyword is practitioners. And in this case, the teachers are the practitioners, though the action research can be taken by other practitioners also, like school administrators, school managers, and teachers. Then no, there can be other stakeholders for conducting action research in classroom. And why they have to conduct action research? To study their problems scientifically, not in haphazard manner, but to study their problems scientifically. Why they have to conduct? In order to guide and correct their decisions and actions. So as in the beginning I have conveyed that it all starts with the dissatisfaction. Why dissatisfaction? Because you are feeling that the things are not moving the way it should move. The things are not moving according to your wishes, what you are feeling. Say if you are expecting something from the students are not able to provide you the desirable result, that feel makes you dissatisfied, and the answer to this dissatisfaction leads to conduct of action research.
Yes, you have truly explained what is action research and how is it different from classroom research. Generally, the teachers sometimes may take action research, but they may be puzzled how to proceed with this action research. Could you please explain what are the various steps in conducting action research?
Yeah. So before getting directly into the steps of the action research, so again I may like to reiterate that there are two things that why this action research is required. That is, one is from moving to problematic situation to a situation where you get solution. So on your screen you can see that there's an image, and we have written problem and solution, where problem word is being striked. So through action research we are moving from a problematic situation to arrive at a particular solution. And the second thing is that improvement in teachers' performance. So when teachers, they are not satisfied with their pedagogical processes, they are not satisfied with their assessment practices, they keep on striving for improving their professional competencies. So thus there's a need for action research, and thus we can say that action research is primarily concerned about finding the solutions of a problems related to different aspects of classroom teaching, and it improves teachers' own teaching also. So now let's come to the various characteristics of action research. So if you look at your screen, there are various boxes, there are various blocks, and in those blocks several keywords are marked, and these keywords are related to characteristics of action research. So we'll start with the first one, that it is a process. Why it is a process? As I have told you earlier, that there are several sequential steps. When it comes to action research, it starts with identification of the problem, then finalizing the hypothesis. You have to write the hypothesis, then you have to collect the data, you have to finalize your tools, then you have to collect the data, analyze the data, then interpret the data, write the report, and thus it's a process. And again it works on the process of input-output model. So you provide certain inputs, and then it's being processed, and you get the output in the form of solutions or findings. The second characteristic of this particular action research is that it is situational. Why I am saying situational? Because it varies from one situation to another. There are 2-3 sections in the school, and there are several teachers teaching one particular subject to these 2-3 sections. So it may happen that a teacher teaching to one particular subject in one particular section may face altogether different problems which his or her counterpart is facing in different section. So it is a situational a case. So, and another thing is that one teacher may finding it that he or she is more concerned with the academic aspect, Other teacher may be concerned about socio-emotional concerns. The third may be finding behavioral aspects. So different teachers may be having different concerns for action research. And then another important characteristic is that it's practice based. So in the beginning I have conveyed it that, say, action research is done by the practitioners, and when these practitioners, they are dissatisfied, they go for action research, and in order to improve their practice, so they have to conduct the action research. And as I've already stated, that different activities are carried out, and these different activities are also part of characteristics of action research. All these activities are carried out in a systematic manner, and then when it comes to conduct of research on a one particular group, and we have to select the sample, so in that case say we always go for purposive sampling, because if you are there as a teacher and you have got one particular class assigned to you, you are facing problems with that particular class or students in that particular class, so you will be selecting that group of students and that particular class, and that is how in this case the sample becomes very purposive. And then another characteristic of action research is that it is finding solutions of problems encountered by the teacher, right? See, you are facing the problem, you will be conducting an activity, and you will be conducting the research, and with that you will be coming out with the solutions. And though it is cooperative in nature, why it's cooperative in nature? That you may seek help from the educational administrators, you may seek help from your counterparts, you may seek help from the parents, you may also seek help from the community and students to arrive at solutions. Then there's a possibility of bringing improvement in the situation. So once you are arrived at the findings or the outcomes of your action research, then these findings you may use it in your practice, and this will improve your day-to-day functioning of your classroom, and this will also improve pedagogical processes in your classrooms. Then when it's action research and when you compare it with formal research, what you will notice that methodology is slightly flexible in nature when it comes to action research, and when it comes to action research, it is self-evaluated. You will not send it to the evaluators to different universities or to different educational administrators or to educational functionaries, senior educational functionaries, for evaluation of your action research report. This is self-evaluated. So you will be knowing solutions to your problems. And another important point is that it is not for generalizations, because this is very contextual, this is very situational, right? So, and this is a small scale research. So if it is a small scale research, if it cannot be contextualized, if it is a situational nature, but natural, the results of these findings cannot be generalized on a larger population. And then another important characteristic of action research is that it is cyclic in nature. So once we are arrived at the findings, the process does not stop there. We have to implement those findings and again carry out one more cycle, that whether those findings adopted by you in your pedagogical processes are giving you meaningful result or not. So that is how it is cycling in nature. So what we can say, Dr. Elizabeth, that there are certain characteristics of action research, that it's a process, it's a situational based, it's a practice based, different activities are carried out in action research, it's systematic, it involves purposive sampling, it is finding solutions of problem encountered by the teacher, it's cooperative in nature, it brings possibility of improvement in the situation, it finds solution to immediate problems, and it is cyclic in nature.
Okay, you have rightly stated that it is practice based. Generally, the teachers may think that how they can be considered as practitioners. We consider teachers as practitioners because the context is different. They are really doing several practices in their teaching methodology, with their behavioral pattern, as well as interaction with the learners. So really, action research can be considered, and teachers are known as real practitioners. And next one, as a teacher, I am not acquainted with action research. What should I do? How the teacher can be acquainted with the action research?
Yeah, so teachers can be acquainted with the action research, but many of the times what we have seen that the moment they listen the word research, they feel panicked, they feel disturbed, and they feel disheartened that maybe they are not acquainted with the methodology of research, and they don't feel competent enough to carry out this research, and probably they have to be made aware that this action research is very specific and it is totally different from formal research, though there are certain similarities also, like both formal research and action research believes in systematic inquiry, but there are certain basic differences also. Like when it comes to goal, in action research, goal is to solve the problems of local concern, and a little formal training is required to conduct action research. So teachers should not get disturbed. With little formal training, you will be able to conduct action research, and intent is to identify and correct issues of the local concern. So problems are yours, you will be conducting the research, you will be finding out the solutions, and you will be implementing those solutions to resolve your issues.
Yes.
And it is carried out by the local practitioner, as I've already told you, and it's not it uses non-standardized teacher-made tools. You need not to bother about that from where I'll get those standardized tools. Say I'm not well acquainted with tool development, what should I do? So these are not the issues which will disturb you. So once you will know that, you can develop your own tools, and it is very less rigorous. It contains purposive sampling, action research, as compared to formal research. So when you will realize the importance of action research, when you will be aware of the characteristics of action research, and when you will be distinguishing it from the formal research, probably you will feel more confident that okay, it's totally different from formal research, and yes, with the little understanding, I'll be able to conduct the action research in my class.
Okay, so generally, when a teacher conduct action research, there are various steps for conducting action research. Could you please explain what are the various steps of conducting action research?
Yeah, Dr. Elizabeth, as I have told you that there are systematic steps for conducting action research. So very briefly, we will see to it, and I'll request learners to have a look at the screen. There's an image where different steps of conducting action research is being provided. It starts with the identification of the problem, and then we move on to formulation of hypothesis. Then we have to decide method of research. Then we need to collect data. Then this data is analyzed, and then report writing is being done. So when it comes to identification of the problem, there are 3 points which our learners must keep it in mind. Then they have to select the variable from the school context. Why school context? Because we are dealing with the action research to be conducted in a school premises by the teacher. So in this case, the variable will be selected from the school context. Then when they are writing title, it must contain variable, group on which the action research has to be conducted, and the type of research. And when they are writing objectives, these objectives need to be pinpointed and they need to be directional. So I think learners, they are aware of the term hypothesis, concept of hypothesis, and to facilitate the learners, let me tell you that hypothesis, they are tentative solutions of the problem, intelligent guess about the solution of the problem, and So students can develop null hypothesis, directional or alternative hypothesis. Then they have to adopt the methodology wherein they need to select the sample, they need to design the tool, they need to identify the experimental design, whether they have to select the pre-experimental or some other, and thereafter they have to move towards data collection, data analysis and report writing, and once findings are arrived at, they need to incorporate these results, and finally they have to review whether these findings are useful in their changing lifestyle, in their changing pedagogical processes, whether their cause of dissatisfaction is overcome or not. So in order to facilitate the learners, NCERT also conduct online course on action research. Learners by visiting their website, by noting down their notification, they can undertake their course so that they can equip very well in the process of conducting action research in their classroom scenario.
Okay, so in this session, you have listened what is action research, what are the characteristics of action research, why do we conduct action research, and how action research can be conducted. Hence, to sum up, I would like to motivate the prospective learners to conduct action research in your real context and become real practitioners in the real field. Thank you.
Thank you.